today I'm going to be taking you on a visual tour of my first novel. Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm one half of Jen Squared, and we are hobby authors. Now, my partner Jen, she's completed her very first draft of her fantasy romance novel and is currently planning her sequel. And I should be in the middle of the J2 June challenge, which is a 30-day writing challenge that we are coining. J2 obviously meaning Jen Squared. See where we got that? Okay. You can check out our latest progress report to see if that has changed. Maybe you're from the future, we don't know. But what I really wanted to do with this video was to give you a glimpse into the world that I've been building with this fantasy romance novel. No spoilers, just vibes. So today I'm going to be taking you on a visual tour of the setting and the mood of my first novel. A look at the aesthetic that has developed through the course of writing this project. To give you a brief explanation of the book, which this is the first time that I'm doing this, so bear with me, but also have an open mind, okay? So the vibes of this book, I wrote it down. So the vibes of this book are kind of passionate romance meets Sex in the City with a flavor of Regency period, but very, very loose Regency period. Stick with me. Think hierarchy applicable, social standing applicable, but fashion and architecture just, they hit a more modern but Grecian, very Greek inspired target. There's still possibility of some change here. I'm pretty married to the locations that I've conceptualized for this novel, and so that's primarily what I'm going to be giving you the vibes for, because I'm pretty confident that that's what you're going to be seeing in your mind's eye when you're reading. If you're reading, will you read it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe one day. So if you'd like to go check out our Pinterest, I will link it in the description box below, but that's where all of the collections of these photos, these inspirational photos are. I'm going to be putting it into this collage, and I'm going to try to map it in a way that it goes from where the characters begin in the book and then where they travel to. There are other locations that are not going to be included in this. We're just going to take you through the flow so you get a kind of idea of where the characters are jumping through. I'm starting to just plop all of my images into Canva on a whiteboard, and then I'm going to organize them by location, and then from there we'll kind of get vibes, we'll get colors, maybe we'll add some things just to make it extra fun. So I'm going to just do that now. Okay, we've put the images into piles, and now we're going to go kind of make little collages for each. I'm gonna get rid of things that are not applicable. I'll try to chat through some of the process so that you can kind of be organized with me as things go on. Okay, just gonna push these out of the way while I work on the first location. Okay, so I'm gonna try to like section it off by like areas on the estate. So this is actually the maze from Saltburn, the movie. If you haven't seen it, I don't know if I would recommend it. Depends on how like traumatized you're willing to be. There's a maze element to the landscaping of this. I like this round, but I like how large the Saltburn one is, so I'm going to include both. But it's not a maze. Like, it is a maze. This is so hard. It is a maze, but it's not a maze like this. So I want to include it in here, but I don't want it to be like a huge section of this kind of collage here. I just want to change the shape. So that's landscaping. This is exterior. This is this is exterior. Like, the mountains is not really a thing. So let's see if I can use background remover to get rid of that. No, mountains are still included. Okay, no mountains. See, like, look at that. I want to change the shapes of these because I think it'll be more interesting, but I should also change like the size. Better. See, okay, also like a color that I'm really liking here is this blue and like this kind of creamy white. So I'm gonna pull those colors into more shapes. But what shape? Do we have a wiggly shape? Let's have some squiggles. Where are you, squiggles? Not seeing the squiggle monsters. I won't. Wish I could make that like more rounded, but that's okay. So this kind of thing, the color, we're gonna use the dropper. Ooh. Boom. Gorgeous. Kind of want to include photo, like the color kind of scheme as well of each location in as an element as well. We're having very round and then, okay, maybe I should also worry about the shape vibe that we have going on. Yeah, it's a little bit more shaded than I would have liked, but the point is it's not quite white. I don't think I can remove the background there, can I? Oh, what do you know? I did. There's more mountains here. Okay, we're gonna not be hung up on the mountains in this image. And this is more the interiors that we're seeing. This is giving the combo of Grecian and Regency that I'm trying to capture. I like that it's also like a vintagey colors. There is a lot of history at this location, so I guess vintage would be a good like vibe. Maybe I should make it all sepia. No. But I also don't want this negative space here. Okay, so that's the kind of beginning. You've got, this needs to be more vibrant. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe I crop this. You know what? I think I'm going to put this into a shape as well. We need a frame. Maybe she's the main focus here. I do love the pillars. But she's kind of the main focus. So let's do it like that. And then you have kind of like, the element of characters going through these spaces, which I like as well. This is kind of the depths here. These are kind of like looking more like entrances. Ooh, very nice. This is a specific, like I wasn't inspired by this image, but it reminds me of something that the characters spend time in particular. So I kind of want to bring this one to the front. I'll find something else to fill this dead space here. But we have kind of entrance. This is more entrance situation. This is more entrance situation. These are kind of transit situation. And then this is more where they've arrived. I want to make this square. This is another element of the location. But then this is interiors. These interiors. Maybe I will sprinkle those as like a little moment. Top 2, 3. So this library, I don't really like that it has a second floor to it. I didn't include that. I don't want that. I don't like the vaulted ceilings either. So I'm going to go in and try to get rid of that element and keep like, there's still that grandeur of, you know, white pillars, bright kind of scenario, but I don't want to lose the bookshelves because it's a library. But it's not like the 2-floor scenario. It's a bit too much. Doesn't really capture what I did very much. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver over here. So this is what we're looking at. I like this little trio up top here. It's giving it a more organized mood board rather than collage, which is okay. But I think what I'll do is I'm gonna kind of put a background to it using the colors that remind me of this setting. So we gotta add shapes. Let's add a cooler shape, wiggle shape. Yeah, like this, like cool wiggle shapes. Yes, this shape. I'm getting rid of this one. Goodbye. Getting rid of that one. Goodbye. We need cool wiggle shape. This kind of water feature element to things. That was this color.
Oh, you know what? No, we're gonna swap. We're going
to capture some white. So we've got some kind of grayish, whitish color. We've got some, okay, that's one color of this location. And then we're gonna do like the greens and the blues of the outer. So we've got this kind of other landscape. So like think exteriors, interiors, kind of colors of the walls. Then we've got like the landscape colors. We're gonna use this as a background for our little trio here. Just don't want it to have a lot of negative space, but let's try this one. And then we're gonna take a color from one of these trio, this kind of interior. I do like these kind of more beigey, almost the color that it has now. This beigey column is really cool. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and then this color we'll choose from the underneath. Yes, very moody. Very moody. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna just try to touch it up and then we'll take a tour. We'll leave the tour to the end. This wiggle could be nice. And I'll just do like what I envision like the exterior to be more like. Let's find a white for like the exterior. Oh, you can't really tell. So maybe we do a double. We add a shadow. So let's do you. Fantastic. Okay, beautiful. So we've got location number 1. That only took 27 minutes. Let's organize these by like landscape, exterior, and interior. I need to edit this so that it's not like getting me demonetized on here one day. Not that I'm monetized now, fear not. That has not happened, my 57 of you. Okay, so we've got the kind of traveling. How do I make it? Like I almost want to make a transition to this, but I suppose like we'll just have them slightly overlap. Like they're not related, but like transition from one to the next. This one is quite bright, which is fine, but I think that with these photos in particular, choosing very moody photos, like daytime does happen at this place. Like, don't get me wrong, but their first encounter with this location is not during the daytime. So for that reason, I think I'm going to edit this photo to be darker. It does become daytime in this location, don't get me wrong, but it's a very moody transition, you know, inciting incident happens, not everybody's happy about it, okay? So we've got some discontent. I do kind of like that these are all narrow and tall. I think I'm going to keep that. I'm not going to add any shapes for this one. this is more first impressions, so we're going to bring this to the front. Like, this is quite moody as well, and it's just gorgeous. I want to remove the water here, but I just don't think I'm capable of that in this software. So ignore the water. Think more forest all above. Let's see if I can, maybe I can, let's see what I can do. We have that other element of the character going through the space, which is what we like in this particular case scenario. So we've got this, water has been removed. Okay, so I kind of want a little wiggle. We need a wiggle. Where are the wiggles? Ooh. It's more like a bean. Stunning. Just a wiggle, living its wiggle life. Let's choose like one of these forest greens because, you know, forest is happening. Ooh, what a vibe. That's what we're going for. Okay, so I think we're going to include, I do like the tree in this image, but that's not really the point. We're thinking more like transitions, a lot of glass included in this location. But I think I have to edit the image again just to make it a little bit more moody. There's some walkways that have windows on either side. That's the story that is telling. I really like the whole part of this image. This is kind of the last piece of our exteriors, so I don't want to lose any of it, actually. And do we hate that I'm covering her? Like, I don't think so. I hope you don't mind. Let me know how you feel about it. I don't mind hiding her away a little bit because we're talking about the scenery here today. Okay, we're going interior now. Lots of glass, lots of windows, lots of window-lined halls. Which, like, if you have a window-lined halls, like, it's gonna be bright. Why is this dark? But it's just the vibes. It's more, this location is more, it's darker for the characters. And we also have statues lining the walls. I don't know if, hopefully you'll be able to see that in this, but I want you to think windows on one side, like this image, and statues on the other. So I'm going to kind of keep these two together. Yeah, statues on one side. It's very much, this image actually is from a real place that you can visit in Warsaw, Poland. It's a gorgeous museum, and this window-lined hall with statues on the other side, full of Greek mythological creatures. Not mythological creatures. Full of Greek mythology characters, I suppose you could say, or deities, or whatever, what have you. This was a huge inspiration for this location. So I'm going to make it darker because everything is dark despite all the windows. Just gonna make it more almost like foggy, like sleepy. All of your senses are not being used 100%. I feel that's kind of the vibe. The more I look at this, actually, the more I realize this is not the library for this location. This was the library that I was trying to depict at the first location. However, we already have the library image, but this one might be better. Okay, that's the library. This is the more of the library vibe in this location. There are libraries included. The water element, ignore, as we did before with this image of the girl on the cliff. So think more forestry in the background. I don't know that I can remove that in the background. Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm not even gonna try. But this image itself, it looks it's very open, Like it's open out into the elements, but think glass on that side, but there's still this hall in between. So you have these two stories, almost like it's encapsulated in glass. That's the vibe. So I'm gonna try crop this to be kind of level, and then it's kind of windows out into the forestry, and I actually like that a lot. I know it looks kind of strange. We'll keep it bluish, very, very twilight. And then we have bedroom. I do really like this canopy bed, but I just don't think it fits. I just don't think it fits. This one has a better depiction of like the forestry on the outside and the windows, and so I think we're gonna keep it like that. More statue lined walls. Bedroom, it's not quite what I envisioned. It's very modern. It's very modern, the elements that are included in there, but the overall message is essentially pretty good. Like it's a good room. Like it's a pretty sick room to have. And she's pretty thrilled about it, I'd say. So it's hard not to include that in this. We need more wiggles. I just kept this wiggle page open this whole time. That's probably distracting. Let's see, what can we do? But now for the color. So this is kind of the forestry color. I like that there's like, I kind of want it to be black. Let's see if we can pick a really dark, this is almost dark brown. But it's just that black element, like think black lined windows, like, you know, like a iron window. Let's think, what other color do we want to highlight here? Image. Okay, so now we're thinking more interiors. I think we need to do like a statue color. Just kind of tie in these images anyways, so kind of giving that statue that clay look, giving the clay of the statue almost. It's not clay, but you know what I'm saying. It ties it in. It ties it in fine. Okay, so we have location number 2. We'll see if I change this any further, but that's how we're gonna go with that. And now we can move on to location number 3. So I'm gonna organize in landscape, exteriors, and interiors again. There's not as much going on at this location, but I wanted to include it. There's this is kind of the flow of the location, and then we go revisit some previous locations throughout the novel. So this is going to be our transition period. This one, I'm going to connect it up here. The bedroom doesn't happen before going to this location, so I'm going to connect it to this kind of library dual situation where it's like the wall of windows and then there's like the balcony of the library, which I love that element so much. We're gonna do landscapes and exteriors now of this third location. Yeah, we have like a traveled road. Yes, I'm okay with mountains being in the distance for this one. Oh, there's like a little okay, I lost you, but I didn't lose the footage, which is most important, I would argue. But we've lost the mic. The mic is gone, okay? Sorry if the audio change triggered you. Okay, back to business here. So we've got this little green, there's this little logo here that I'm gonna just get rid of quickly. We've got big lawn happening. And I love these little lanterns. They're gonna line, but like this one is just so cute. I can't get rid of it. We gotta keep it. So we're gonna use this lantern. Thank you to the other lantern. There is not just one style lantern. Oh no, I deleted the wrong one. There's not just one style lantern in this kind of scenario. However, this one is just so cute. I love it for this particular thing. So we're gonna pull these to the front. And I know that like this makes no sense, to just like plop an image of these lanterns in the middle of this freshly mowed grass. But you know, we're here for a tour of vibes. So we're just gonna have these little lanterns lining this image. Exteriors, this is very dark also location. However, it's like with a purpose, and it's not from the mood of the scenario. Well, it kind of is. It's a pretty rough reason why they have to go to this location. But the reasoning for like the black exterior is more of like a burnt feature, and it's more of like the history of the setting, where I'm not gonna say it's not prone to fire, like it's built out of bricks, but that there is some element of fire like that's associated with it, and ash. I remember writing like the black smudge of the location came into view in the distance. That's the kind of vibe. They're not here for very long, so I don't go into too much detail, but we do have this interior closet that we're including. If you know, you know. And then obviously there's like the bedroom included. Not an if you know, you know situation. I just really liked, it's more modest than the bedroom at this location, and I just wanted to highlight that kind of contrast of, you know, there's the intense elegance, and this is more like a worn in, more of like a common place that this character's found themselves and almost like made a home for themselves. So that element is included. We're just gonna hide this little dancing couple in the background. That's it, if you know, if you know. And then we're gonna include this kind of dark, moody, high-end, extravagant ballroom in the background here. So that's good. We all know what time it is. It's wiggle time. Let's find some wiggles. Maybe I should change the shape of one of these images. What do we think? I don't have as many images for this location because they're not here for very long. A lot happens at this location. Don't get me wrong. Change the color. Okay, let's do, I like the lawn. The lawn's a big one. And then obviously we've got this kind of dark exterior, but I kind of want to highlight the glow from within. Got it. Okay, that's more like it. Okay, glow from within, and then very moody color now. Yeah, more stone. It's like a little flower with the little wiggles as the leaves. Okay, so that's me making the collage. Okay, so let's take the tour. Okay, so this is where the story begins. It's got a Greek, heavy Greek hand to inspire this location, and there's a heavy amount of magical history tied to this location, which is what gives it its main qualities effectively. Honestly, I have a lot of inspiration for the background and the history of these locations, which is obviously not necessary for the main story. Despite all of that history, it doesn't get lost because I'm capable of using world building, and I know in my mind that I can justify why things are the way they are because of how much inspiration I've had for the history of each of these locations. So the reasoning for why things are the way they are is justified, and in the future maybe we can kind of visit that a little bit more. So in this location we've kind of see that Grecian inspiration. We've got a water and maze kind of element to the exterior landscaping. And then we also have this kind of underwater element, but also extremely extravagant, white, expensive vibe for the main interiors. Love. Colors, we're seeing like the creams, We're seeing the dark, deep blue navies, those turquoise waters, the crisp hedges. We're seeing the shaded white exteriors. Yeah, big fan. Big fan, big fan. So fun. The setting is something that I love about the reading experience, and I really want people to feel like they've fallen into my book. So you can be the judge one day and look back on this and see if I've captured these locations well in this particular collage, and whether that's a commentary on my ability as a writer or if that's a commentary on my ability as to search Pinterest, we'll be the judge of at a later date. So we're moving in, the characters are moving into the second location. It's not necessarily a dark location itself, however, the mood is quite dark. You know, how inciting incidents go. It's not exactly a step into dreamland. So we've got lots of heavy forestry, rock encrusted roads and mountains. We've got a lot of glass features in the architecture, but also quite grand. We've got a lot of statues lining the walls. There are elements of water that are not related to the landscape, but also a lot of trees. Trees are pretty important at this location. The location itself has some cliff elements to it, very mountainous attitude. We've got the kind of forest green color palette with the dark accents of the windows, like the framing of the windows, and then we have that cream of the statues that are lining the halls. This bedroom, I'm talking about it way too much, but not like that. So we've got the bedroom element, which is it becomes significant. If you read, you'll know why. And then we have this library with the balcony, 2 stories, but it looks out into that glassed wall, so almost encasing the whole location. Really big fan. Really big fan. Big fan. How many times can I say big fan? Oh my gosh. Zoom back in. So the story begins to process here at this location. There's a heavy modern architectural influence. It's hard to find pictures to do it justice in my head. Let's be honest, I had to mishmash quite a lot of photos in this collage to make it work. The magic at this location is definitely tied to the land, and it has kind of like ancient qualities. Both of these locations, the first and the second location, have a lot of history with magic. Yeah, so they've effectively, these glasses like the protecting the original setting, so it's kind of like has history, but then it has the desire to keep it going. Like there's this protective layer to keep it going. The characters are spending a lot of time at this location. There's quite a few interior and adjacent locations that I haven't included in here because that would be too much. Like I could do a tour of this location on its own. I haven't included that because some of the rooms in this place don't really match the vibe of this particular vibe. Like this is just, we're scratching the surface here. That could also be like an indicator that I've used too many styles of interiors in one location and I could like scrap them, hold them for future projects, but that would be happening in the revision phase and I've not even done my manuscript, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, and then we're transitioning into the third location that I'm outlining in this. There are multiple locations that I did not include. This is like a little mini excursion from the second location. So we've got this kind of dirt path, mountains in the distance, manicured lawn with little lanterns lining it, and a very dark black exterior, brick kind of location that has exquisite ballrooms, but homey, private. The characters are very familiar with this location and have their own space in this location that's very, very comfortable for them, and it's very cozy regardless of what they're used to or what expectations they have of any other place. We have a little dancing couple. Who doesn't love a dancing couple? And we have this small space where it's a little storage room where elixirs are stored. If you know, you know kind of vibe. kind of giving it some trope hints there. This is the tour completed of some of the settings, the main settings that the characters are going through in my novel. I guess I'm smiling, like this is so fun. I do feel right now that the plot is not very much plotting in this location as I've written it, but the subplots are moving along. So this section is kind of dear to my heart because of how characters are unraveled and images are shattered. So I really do like this location. I don't see myself cutting it in the revision phase, but I need to encapsulate the event of going to this location being integral to the plot and not just serve as like a filler episode. How I'm gonna do that, I don't know. Okay, so now that you've seen a little bit of the inside scoop of my story, why am I using my hands so much? Okay, put them down. I'm curious what you think that the tone of the novel gives based on the visuals that you see. Which setting would you rather spend more time in? I'm curious to know. I'm so excited to share more of my writing journey with you. This was so fun and such a fun way to kind of share the vibes of the novel and the locations without giving away literally anything that the story is about. Like, you don't know anything except for maybe a little touch of romance. And I tried to give you a little blurb at the beginning of this video to kind of give you a sense of what's going on, but I'm still workshopping it. So we'll get there. There will be more to be shared, but for now, that's what we have. Make sure to subscribe for future updates and any sneak peeks that I can kind of come up with on how to share the vibes of this book and things like that. If you liked this style video, I'm not saying that we've invented it, but maybe we should start a little tag going around. Definitely tell your favorite author tubers about this kind of style video so you can get them to recreate it, just to get a sneak peek or get a little bit more of the aesthetics and the vibes of their novels. Let's call it like the novel aesthetic tag, so like the NovA tag, N-O-V-A. Let's call it the NovA tag, and you can kind of comment around. Let's see if we can get anybody to do it too. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun, and I hope to see you soon.